Hey guys. Um, so yeah, oh my gosh, boy, do I have a story to tell you, but um, first off, we are in my bed. Uh, I am not putting makeup on. I'm not, ugh, I just basically have showered. Um, we just got home today from the hospital. I didn't do my week 31 update because I never got a chance to do it. Tuesday, let's see what happened. This has been so crazy that like I'm so tired. I don't even remember the days. Like I don't remember like a lot of things. Tuesday, what happened was it's like Tuesday morning. Justin and we woke up and we got like a big shipment of baby stuff in, and I was really excited about it when because it was like the last of our baby stuff from our registry. We got one of the glider chairs for the nursery. We have one in our living room that we just bought at that one's already put together, and then we have one for the nursery, and that's the one that we got Tuesday. And then like a bunch of other shipments of like just all these crazy baby things in big boxes. So I still haven't even gotten to go through that yet. Justin opened all the boxes on Tuesday, and there is just tons and tons of baby crap all over our living room. So that's going to need to be dealt with at some point. I don't know how. So what happened was we woke up Tuesday morning and I was feeling great. I wasn't having any problems. I was actually feeling really good that day. I thought it was going to be a really good day. And yeah, like I said, like there was no problems or anything like that. And then I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was on the computer. I'm actually positive I was on the computer, and I started to get this kind of burning sensation in my, I don't know if you can, like down in here. And it was a feeling I've never had before, and I was kind of like, well, pregnancy brings on a lot of things that you've never felt before. And so I figured I would just see how it is, and then if anything comes of it, then I would call my doctor and just mention it to her or something, just to see if it was normal. Then, though, it started really getting uncomfortable, and it turned into more of like a sharp burning pain at this, like sharp pains and burning pains, and it was constant. And then so I was like, well, maybe it's still something. Maybe it's like those stretching pains. Maybe, what I thought were stretching pains in the beginning really weren't stretching pains. Maybe this is what they really are. But then it started turning into cramping feeling. And it wasn't like coming and going, so I didn't consider it as contractions, so I didn't time it because there really was no way for me to time it. It just felt like constant, like a constant cramp. So I did feel like I needed to use the bathroom, so I was like, okay, well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I need to use the bathroom, and then it'll just go away. And then I used the bathroom, and that's when it started coming and going in contractions. So I called the doctor, and I told her what was happening. I think that's all that was happening then. Pretty sure. Like this was 3 days ago that this all started. So and so much is going on that I'm really hazy. And I've barely slept for 3 days, so I'm sleeping right after this video. So anyway, so she told me to go into the hospital, into the snuggery. It's like the labor and delivery department at our hospital. And I went in, and it was like stopping. Oh, that's okay. So that's one of the things. Like, it started hurting into my back. That is one of the things that was happening, and the only thing that was making it feel better is if I was like swaying and really kind of like doing these kind of movements and stuff, like moving my hips a lot and stuff, and so that was concerning, especially since it was really hurting in my lower back and waves of pain. And it wasn't just like a normal pregnancy backache. You're carrying a baby, so your back hurts. It was like waves of really bad back pain. So that's why she got concerned, and she told me to go in. Normally, when I call them for things, they say, okay, drink a lot of water and lay on your left side. And if it doesn't go away within an hour, or if it gets worse, call us back and we'll have you come in. But this time they just had me go in. And then when I got to the hospital, it stopped. Like it wasn't doing it anymore. And then they had monitored me for a little while, and they gave me lunch because it was like 10:30 in the morning when it started. So I got tossed to the hospital like 11:30, 12. And they gave me lunch. And then after I ate lunch, it started again at the hospital. But I don't know if they didn't have the monitor on the right part of my belly. Excuse me, but the monitor wasn't picking up all of my contractions. So to them, I wasn't getting consistent contractions. But to me, I was feeling like I was getting consistent contractions. So they ended up sending me home. They checked my cervix, and I was a fingertip dilated. And I can't remember how effaced they said I don't think they even said like how effaced it was. But I was a fingertip dilated, and I asked them if that was normal for 31 weeks, and they said yes, that's fine. So so they sent me home because there was nothing they could do. On their monitor, it was showing that I wasn't getting consistent contractions. I was getting contractions, but they weren't consistent, and they weren't getting closer together. And I wasn't dilated enough, I guess. So I went home. Justin went to work. He's working, I don't know what to call this shift this week. He's working from like 2 in the afternoon to midnight. So that was a little concerning to me, considering I'd be home pretty much by myself till that time, especially having contractions and stuff. But I felt like, okay, this is fine. They wouldn't have sent me home if nothing was wrong, if nothing was happening. So when I went home, I was still having the same exact thing. Contractions. They told me I could take a bath. They told me I could use a heating pad. They told me to drink a lot of water. They told me to lay down. I did everything. I did literally everything. I was talking to my sister on the phone, and I was telling her, what was going on and stuff. And I think like talking to her helped ease my mind a little bit, so I could go to sleep, because she kind of eased my mind a little bit, reassuring me that she thought everything was okay. And so I did go to sleep. I went to sleep. I was really tired, extremely tired actually. Usually I wait till Justin gets home, and I didn't wait for him to get home. I really went to sleep, and then I really didn't even wake up when he got home. I was on the couch sleeping when he got home, and then he got home, and I noticed when I was sleeping fine, every once in a while I would wake up to pee, and then I would feel contractions again, but then I could go back to sleep. So I was like, okay, well, they're not that bad that the contractions are waking me up or anything, so I think everything is fine. And they're the same exact as when I left the hospital. So when Justin woke me up to go to bed, I woke up and I went to bed, and I was still feeling them, and I finally got back to sleep. And then about 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up to use the bathroom, and it was really bad. It was like constant pain, like constant really bad pain, like down really low, and that burning pain. But I was having pains down really low, like in my pelvis, that I would have to, I was literally on my bed on my hands and knees holding on. I had like 2 pregnancy pillows behind me, but I was on those, and Justin was sleeping, and had gotten a bloody nose, so I woke him up and asked him to get me some tissues because it's wintertime, so my nose has been bleeding a lot. And then he asked me, he said, you seem like you're in a lot of pain. Are you okay? And I said, I don't know. Like, I don't see how this could be right. And the constant pain that I was having, it was like when I would have a contraction, I would have the constant pain and then a big wave of more pain on top of it. And they would last, like I was timing some of them would last for like 2 minutes. And then they'd be like 4 minutes apart. And so I told Justin, I was like, I don't think this is right. I really don't think this is right. And then I started getting really nauseous from them. And so Justin got me a garbage can, and I was just throwing up. Like, it was like projectile vomiting in the garbage can because it was so bad. And so as he handed me the garbage can and realized that I was throwing up like that, he went and he called my midwife. And he talked to her, and she had said that she wanted me to go back into the hospital, which was a pain. I mean, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and she felt bad. The hospital is like a half hour away from us. So it was like we went that day, they sent me back, and then things progressed, and they wanted me to go back in. So I went back in, and my contractions didn't stop then. So they knew then that I wasn't lying. They didn't think I was lying in the first place. Things like this happen a lot in pregnancies, and a lot of women will go to the hospital because they're worried about something, and it will turn out to be, nothing, not a big deal, but they want you to go anyways just because they want to make sure. But when I went in, I was having contractions, and they were pretty consistent, and they checked me. They checked my cervix, and they said, it was the same girl, the same midwife who checked my cervix the first time and I was really happy for that because she could really tell if there was a change. It's not like another person with a different hand, a different size fingers checking you and saying, okay, well, they said you were fingertip dilated. Now I'm going to say you're less than a fingertip dilated because my fingers are bigger than hers. She could really tell, like, if there was a change, and there was. She said that I was about a centimeter dilated, and my cervix had softened. And she said the first time she checked me the day before, she said I was a fingertip dilated on the outside, but then the inside, she could hardly get her finger in. And then when she checked me that time, it was like a centimeter all the way through and soft. And she said the baby's head had moved down a lot. So she said that's all that pressure that I was feeling down there was his head. So that was really worrying her. So they determined that I was in preterm labor. They monitored my contractions, and then they gave me, what did they do? They gave me an IV. So I had an IV in this hand. You can kind of see. Let's see. I'm terrible at this. All down in here. I don't know if you can really see. They gave me an IV. They gave me fluids. First, they just started off with fluids, I think. I wasn't dehydrated. They checked my urine both times. I went to the hospital, and it was like crystal clear. So they were like, no, your urine is perfect. There's nothing. It's not because you were not drinking enough water, and now you're possibly having your baby. So it wasn't because of that. So they gave me the fluids, and then they gave me, I'm trying to think what they did first. They gave me the shot to stop contractions. It is, I don't know what it is. I don't know any of the names of the medications that they gave me because everything is just, there's so many people coming to you and doing things to you all at the same time, and kind of a little bit frantic at the same time, but they're still trying not to freak you out. So they told me all the names of things, but I don't remember them. But that shot was up in here they gave me, and that one was to stop the contractions, and it did for like 30 minutes, and then the contractions came back. So what they had said was they were either going to, if that stopped the contractions, they were going to monitor me, just to make sure they didn't come back and this and that. And if they did come back, they were either going to do another dose of that, or they were going to start me on magnesium and send me to another hospital. And they, what did they say? Oh, they were going to check my cervix again, too. And depending on if my cervix had changed again, that's when they were going to send me to the next hospital. So once the contractions started coming back, they monitored me for a little bit again. And then they checked my cervix, and I was still a centimeter dilated, but I was softening more. So they did notice another change in my cervix. It wasn't a huge change, but since there was a change, that was concerning them. So they started me on the magnesium through my IV, and that stuff is like terrible. It makes you really hot, and it kind of makes you feel like you're breathing fire. They had told me, you're not gonna like this. It's not gonna make you feel good, but it will hopefully. A lot of times it stops preterm labor, and it's for the baby's brain, to help his brain. So it was really definitely needed. So they gave me that, and that I had to have for a long time. I had to have that until 11 o'clock at night, through my IV. And then they decided that they were going to send me to the next hospital. Before they sent me to the hospital, they gave me that steroid injection in my butt, to help his lungs produce faster, in case he were born then. His lungs would be a little bit more mature, and then they'd be able to help him breathe a little bit better. So they gave me that, and that hurt a lot. It felt like a poisonous snake had bit me, and then my whole leg, like, for like 10 minutes afterwards, was just like pain. Felt like someone like came up and hit me with a hammer. But yeah, so that's what they did. And then they got me ready to send me to the next hospital. They sent me to the next hospital because my hospital doesn't deliver babies before 35 weeks, because they just don't have as good of equipment. They don't have as good of a neonatal care unit for them. And they, at 31 weeks, there are a lot of things that needs to be done to help babies breathe, to eat, there's a lot of things. So they sent me to the next hospital. I had to go by ambulance, which was, I felt like I could have ridden with my husband, but I guess that's how they do things there. But especially, well, I guess I had to go because I had IVs all on me, and I can't take an IV in my husband's car, the whole big thing. So, but that wasn't, it was like 45 minutes away, 50 minutes away, in the ambulance, and they had to give me a catheter. And I've talked to people who were like, catheters aren't that bad, this and that, and they told me it wasn't going to hurt. And I've never had a catheter before, so I didn't know what to expect. And I got really mad at them because they lied to me. And it hurt really, really bad. It was so painful. I actually cried. It wasn't like it was when they were putting it in, like my eyes just started tearing. And then hormonal and being like scared of what's going to happen next at this next hospital. Like they're sending me to another hospital because I might be having my baby soon. That's when the waterworks came, and so, but they were really nice about it, and they gave me a box of tissues to take with me, and so then I went in the ambulance, and they were really nice. The whole time in the ambulance, I kept asking them, I was like, when are they going to take this catheter out? I was like, do I have to have it in all night? I was like asking them so many questions about the catheter. I was like, are they going to take it out? Is someone going to take it out when we get there? And they had no answers for me. So finally, when we got to the hospital, my nurse there had said, yes, we are going to take your catheter out. They said the reason why they put the catheter in was because of the magnesium. It can mess with your kidneys. So they needed to measure how much urine I was putting out to how much fluids was going in my body. But the way that the next hospital that I went to measures it is they have this thing that sits in the toilet and you pee in it, and it literally measures your pee. Apparently at my hospital, they stick a catheter in you and measure your pee that way. And the lady at the other hospital that I went to had said, I don't know why they do things that way. It's just uncomfortable for you, and it's a pain for the nurses, because literally it's like this box of pee that they have to empty, and it's hard to get the thing off, so if they mess it up, they get pee everywhere. It's rather peeing in a thing in the toilet that they can say, okay, you peed this much, and then they just dump it out and then flush the toilet. So, and then I told her how they told me that it wasn't going to hurt, because they asked her, I was like, is it going to hurt when you take it out? And she said, it's not going to hurt like it did when it went in. And I said, well, they lied to me and they told me that it wouldn't hurt when it went in. And she was like, why would they say that? She's like, catheters always hurt when they go in. And they also told me that I would not feel it anymore after a little while, and that wasn't the case. I felt it the whole entire time. And all I could think about was, I need this thing out. So that was like the most unfun part. And then they took blood. They took blood from this arm. And the tape they used ripped my skin off. So now I have this like big spot where there's like, it's literally ripped off skin and it burns really bad. But they did check my blood, and they checked my cervix again there, and they said that I was a centimeter dilated and 50% effaced. So as to where a normal cervix is like 3 or 4 centimeters, I want to say. I could be wrong. Mine was like 1 point something, like 1.9. So thick. So it was thinning out is what effaced means. It was thinning out. And so yeah, so then I'm trying to think of what else they did. This is where everything got hazy because of that magnesium. It really kind of doesn't make you feel good. Makes you kind of feel like you have the flu. I wasn't allowed to eat. I didn't eat from 8 o'clock Tuesday until 1 in the morning last night, or 1 in the morning this morning. So that really sucked. So that was also making me feel really not good. Really bad headache. I was dizzy. I was kind of out of it. I was really tired and I couldn't sleep. And all those things. So, but the good thing was my contractions were slowing down. When we got to the Albany hospital, I only had a few in the ambulance. I think I had 2 or 3 in the ambulance, and then when we got to the hospital, they were really slowing down and pretty much gone when we got to the hospital. They did pick up again towards the end of the magnesium, but then once magnesium was completely done, I didn't have any more contractions for the rest of the night. So that's what they were hoping, and my cervix didn't change any more than it already had. So they moved me to a new room. They gave me antibiotics, so they did that G-strep test or whatever. They swab you down there or whatever. They said a certain percent of people carry it. They're just carriers of it. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just not so great for the baby. So I thought I heard somebody. So they had to give me antibiotics through my IV. I think I had like 3 or 4 rounds of antibiotics in my IV for that. They had to give me a bunch of doses, like a bag like this big. It takes like a half hour to get it all in. So there's like a lot of things that I had in my IV. And it made my pee smell really bad. I don't know what it was that made I think it was the magnesium that made my pee smell really bad. It still kind of does, but that's kind of gross. So yeah, so they moved me to the next room, which was more, it was more like a private room. It was a semi-private room. It was private for us because we didn't have a roommate or anything, but it was more quiet down there, and we could actually get some sleep. And it was a better bed because the bed that I was in the whole time was a birthing bed, and the bed that I was in the next room was more of like a sleeping one. You could sleep in it, you could relax in it. They gave me these things to put on my legs that squeezed them with air. So it would squeeze one leg, and it would squeeze, and then it would squeeze the next leg, and it like hooked to the bed. The machine was on the bed, and they just kind of velcroed to my legs because I wasn't allowed to move around a lot. So I was like on strict bed rest when I was there. Like I couldn't shower really or anything like that. So until they could see that I was okay. And then they finally let me eat once I got into that room, which was very exciting because I was so hungry. Justin actually got me food about 2 hours before they let me eat because the cafeteria was closing. And then I slept through the night. Well, I didn't really sleep through the night because I had nurses coming in and putting more antibiotics in my IVs and checking the baby's heartbeat and checking my heartbeat. My blood pressure was low, but they said that they think that I just have a low blood pressure because it was pretty consistent with my blood pressures from my doctor's appointments and from the ones that they were taking throughout the whole time. It was pretty consistent, so they weren't too concerned about that. But that was annoying because it kept beeping the monitor. An alarm would go off on the monitor because they couldn't set the monitor that they had wouldn't allow them to set it to a lower temperature or to a lower blood pressure thing, I guess. The bottom number. They wouldn't let them set it to a lower one. So that was a little annoying. Let's see. I'm trying to think what happened throughout the night because I had tons of like nurses coming in. Oh, so they said that we had a bunch of people come in and give us information about. One lady came in and said like what would happen if he was born at this time, and it eased our minds so much. Of course, we do not want him to come any sooner than he's supposed to be here. We want him to stay in there for as long as he possibly can. But it really eased our minds to know that if he were born now, his survival rate at that hospital, because they have such a good neonatal care unit, I think that's what it's called. They have such a good one that he would have a 99% chance of survival rate. And she told us that other 1% chance of babies, like the ones that don't survive, are ones who already have problems throughout the pregnancy. And we haven't had any problems with him. My belly was measuring small, but they did give me an ultrasound, and they said that he is growing perfectly fine. It's just me that's small. So that was really reassuring. That ultrasound they couldn't tell me how big he was on that ultrasound because the machine that they were using, they were having some problems with. But they set me up for another ultrasound this morning when I woke up. And so that brings me into this morning. I woke up and I felt terrible. I felt like I had the flu. I felt like I had been hit by a train. I felt like I had the world's biggest hangover, and it was all from that magnesium that they had put into my IV, and they had said that it will do that to you. So they kept monitoring my temperature because I would feel really, really hot. I actually took pretty much all my clothes off besides that little gown that they give you in the middle of the night. Like I had a robe on, and I had fuzzy socks on, and the blankets and stuff, and I took all of that off in the middle of the night. And then my husband was wearing his coat because he was cold. He said that it was actually really cold in there, and I was so hot that I couldn't stand it. And then I would get really cold, and then I'd put the blanket on, and then it'd get too hot. So they were monitoring my temperature. I didn't have a temperature. It was just from the medicine that it was doing that to me, which they said was normal. So in the morning they gave me more antibiotics, and then they gave me my second shot of steroids for the baby's lungs. And they trying to think if they gave me anything else. I think they did. I want to say they did. I don't know what it was though, but I want to say they gave me something else. Through my IV, it was like a syringe thing. I don't know. Maybe it was just saline to, I think it was just saline to flush out whatever was there from the night before. So I'm pretty sure it was just saline. But so they did that. I ate breakfast, even though I was not feeling good. I was hoping that eating a little bit of something would make me feel better, because they had offered me medicine, and I asked them like what it was that they would give me, because I had so many medications since being there. I really didn't feel like taking another medicine, and they said there was 2 different kinds of medicine they could give me. There was one where it was a tablet that you put on your tongue and it just dissolves, and it's supposed to make you feel better. And then there was another one that they put through your IV, and it makes you really sleepy and really tired and this and that. And that was the reason why I was like, well, what is it that you're going to give me? Is it going to make me feel like crap, but a little bit better than this crap? Or so I ended up not taking the medicine. I ended up just eating and kind of waiting it out. They said that it will eventually just come out of your system. You're just coming down off of the medicine. So that's what I did. I ate a little bit. I felt a little bit better. And then I went for my ultrasound. And they did a regular ultrasound on the belly to measure the baby. They said he's growing perfectly fine. He weighs 3 pounds 11 ounces, so he weighs almost 4 pounds, which is really good for right now. I asked her, I said, is that normal? And she said, yeah, that's really good. And they measured his brain, they measured his heart, everything's fine. And then they measured my cervix. So this is what I didn't get. So I had all these doctors feeling my cervix and telling me, your cervix is thinning out, your cervix is opening, your cervix is dilating. And then I go for my ultrasound. They did the internal one, and they said my cervix was long and closed. So I asked them, I was like, well, can your cervix close back up after it opens? And they said no. I'm like, well, how can I have 3 different doctors all check me at 2 different hospitals and say the same thing, and then I get my ultrasound? So I really don't know which one to believe. Like, I looked on the ultrasound, but I couldn't really tell what I was really seeing, so I'm not sure. But they did say that everything was okay, and that they didn't foresee me going into labor. I wasn't having any more contractions this morning, and I felt a lot better. So they had me stay till the afternoon, and then they discharged me. They actually asked me if I wanted to stay another night for my sake, to ease my mind, in case I thought anything was going to happen in the night. And I said, no, I really just want to go home. If anything happens, we'll come back. So so they discharged me, and they said that they think that I will be able to carry till term. And then other doctors said that he may come early. So I'm not sure, but what I'm hoping for that is if he does come early, he comes at least 35 weeks. so that way we can have him at our hospital. We'll be closer to home. It would be ideal for him to come on time, to come by his due date. But if not, God forbid, 35 weeks would be like the soonest I would, I would hope that it would be. So I'm just going to really take it easy. They didn't put me on bed rest. They didn't, they said to just do everything normally. So that kind of surprised me. I really thought they were going to put me on bed rest. I think my doctor might put me on bed rest because this hospital is not my hospital. So I have an appointment on Monday with another ultrasound, and they're going to measure him again and see how he's doing. I'm pretty sure they'll probably check my cervix again, maybe with the ultrasound. And then I'm thinking that they'll probably want me to do some type of bed rest. So, but I'm doing bed rest anyways, just because I feel like I need it. So I'm not really doing anything. I'm actually going to go to bed. But I think that's everything that happened. I know I'm probably missing a bunch of things. I'm so super tired. But yeah, so he's still in there and he's not born yet. We were really worried about that, and our family was really worried. We were calling our family and updating them and making sure that they knew everything. But yeah, so we're going to try and hold on to him for a little bit. We did, I did, the one good thing was, because we had our ultrasound, the lady doing the ultrasound, she was really nice. She tried to do a 3D one, but he was covering his face, because she tried to do it after they did all of their necessary things that they needed to do. And at that point, he had turned his head the opposite way, and he was covering his face with his hands. So she couldn't get one because she didn't really have the time to do it. So, but we did get to see a picture, a little picture of the front of his face for like a second, and then she gave us a picture of his profile, and he looks just like Justin. Justin doesn't think so. He doesn't believe me. He thinks that he's gonna look different when he comes out, but I really think he looks like Justin, and even the ultrasound technician said that he looks a lot like Justin. So that's very exciting. I was hoping he would. So we'll see what he looks like when he comes out. But hopefully that won't be for another, 8 or 9 weeks at least. So, or if he does come sooner, like I said, 35 weeks or 36 or 37. So, but yeah, so I think that's everything. This is like my 31-week update. I'm just going to use this as my 31-week update because I'm not going to probably do another video for that. I'm not going to show you my belly or anything because I'm just so tired, and I'm upstairs in my room and I just kind of want to go to bed. Excuse me. So yeah, so thank you for watching. If you have any questions, I know there's some other pregnant ladies on here. If you have any questions or concerns, you can ask me. If you're ever worried about anything in your pregnancy, definitely call your doctor. That was one of the things that kind of I'm getting out of now, especially after this, because I would be afraid to call my doctor if it was something small. Or if I thought it was something small, if I thought I was overreacting about it or something, because I didn't want to seem like I was nagging them and I was over worrying and all this and that. And, if I hadn't called my doctor and I hadn't gone in, I could have had my baby. So, and at first it seemed like something so small, and at first it seemed like, okay, well, they told me this is okay, so maybe I'll just stay home and not bother them. Maybe I just won't call them and not bother them. But I'm really happy that I called. I definitely believe that they, if it wasn't for them, then I would have had my baby. Like, if it wasn't for everything that they did, I would have had my baby. And granted, he 99% would have been fine. But you know, it's still a long haul. He would have had to have been there until, they said that usually they keep them there until their due date. So they can get them to develop as they would have until their due date. And some of them go home earlier. Some of them surprise them and they go home earlier, and then other ones may need to stay a little longer. So it would have been really, really stressful, and it would have been a really, really long haul. I'm definitely very thankful that that I called, and that my husband knew when to call too. So if ever you're feeling anything, even if you think it is even if you think it is nothing, definitely call and just say, listen, this is going on, and is this normal? And they'll either say, yes, it's completely normal. They've done that to me tons of times. And then they'll just be like, is there anything else we can help you with? And I'll say no and get off the phone, and I'll go about my business. Or they'll say, come in and we'll check you out. And then I've had times where I've gone in and there's been nothing wrong, and they've sent me back home. But it's all for your baby, and for you as well. So yeah, so that's everything. Everything is okay as of now. I will hopefully keep you guys updated. I mean, if something happens, I know I'm not around a lot anyways. I tend to skimp out on videos and stuff, but if I'm gone for a really long time, maybe something had happened, but I will definitely let you guys know when I can. So I don't think anything's going to happen, but in case it does, I might not be around for a while. So thank you for watching, and like I said, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask.